Okay, the first is a continued hearing of Anesia and Associates for owners of property at 3326 Fallbrook Park. Now that has been put off hold. Okay, they're getting some more information for us and it has to be continued to December.
Yeah, so they just received it and they will have time
Okay, so the next one is Dennis Harrington, owner of property at 2329 McIntyre Road, requesting to move a 10 by 30 foot horse stall from an adjacent neighbor's property to a horse pasture on the applicant's property. Setbacks do not meet the zoning requirements in the AR2. 10 foot setbacks, in request of 100 feet is required, a 90 foot setback requirement is needed, and a 60 foot side setback when 100 feet is required. 40 foot setback is needed. This is continued from last time, and we'd like to.
You want me to go up there?
Yeah, that'd be good.
I guess I just updated the drawing. So the measurements are correct. I know last time they were not. And we did a better measurement off the road to where the barn's going to be. It's going to be 200 feet off the road. And then 10 feet off the property line from this property here. And 60 feet off from the neighbor's property line.
You said you need that orientation of the shed to help with the west wind protection. It comes right across there.
Yeah. So the doors will be facing the east instead of the west.
It's back far enough now that we don't need any.
Yeah, that eliminates the
Setback
front variance.
road.
Okay.
Math works this time.
Yeah.
I checked it.
That's good. I did too.
Any questions from the board, the applicant? Are there any comments from the audience, either here or at home?
Lively bunch tonight.
Okay, are you satisfied with your presentation?
Yes. Yep.
We close the public hearing?
Yep.
We will vote tonight, I think, pretty safely.
Okay.
Okay, you're welcome to stay for our deliberation.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you can check this one tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Okay, new public hearing. Dewey, Mauer, and Robinson presenting for Theodore Shepard and Lorraine Burke, owners property at 5007 and 5009 County Road 16. The applicant's requesting a stream setback variance. The corner of the garage is 54.6 feet from the stream bank on the neighboring property. 100 feet is required. The applicant will require a 45.4 foot setback from the stream. We have gone through this property multiple other angles, I guess, prior to tonight, but would you like to present your state your name to the board?
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Terrence Robinson. I'm going to represent the applicants tonight. As the chairman just said, we were here 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Time flies. And we're issued 4 variants to construct this new home. Just as a quick recap, the Shepard Burke group here owns 3 adjoining parcels. They're going to adjoin 2 of them, consolidate those, tear down the homes on each, and build a new home. As a way to try to consolidate their holdings there. So after we received the approvals for the required variance, the project went in front of the planning board. And the planning board had questions about a blue line stream. So that's a term we're going to talk a little bit about on the property to the south. And so there was a question about whether or not there needs to be a 5th variance for the 100 foot setback. I'd just like to have and Sean, if you could bring it up, I think it'd be easier to follow the text, to look at the town code.
Oh, you want me to pull up some of them?
Yeah, here
Sure.
briefly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to.
Because this application is really a two-part application. The first is for a zoning law determination. We believe that this property is not subject to the 100-foot setback, but in any event, even if it is, we feel that the variance is appropriate. The setbacks will largely stay unchanged. It's a very small incremental change. It will come 1.2 feet closer than what it currently is. So the applicant's property, the existing structure sits at 55.8 feet from this blue line stream, and the new structure will be at 54.6. The neighboring property to the south sits at only 12 feet from this blue line stream, which is really a swale. So if we could look at the definition here for the setback, it's 220-9A1.
Is it A1? Okay, I'm in 9.
This is a lengthy one, yes.
Here it is.
Okay. So what this definition says is, you'll see there in the text, that no structure can be built within 100 feet of the bed of a stream. Now, stream is not a defined term in the code. So this section gives a definition for it, so we know what it means. A stream carries water on an average of 6 months of the year, or likewise, you can't build within 100 feet of, or 25 feet, excuse me, of the mean high water mark. Now, we're not at issue there. It's just simply whether we're within 100 feet of a stream, and the code there has its own definition. Now, the zoning law determination, in my mind, has gotten a little bit confused with another definition. Sean, if you could pull up, this is Town Code 1-17, has a definition of water course. Now, water course is something different. It has its own definition. And what you'll see is that the definition of water course is based on a published map. So there's a published map that identifies defined term water courses within the town of Canandaigua. But a water course can also be determined by a site visit.
Almost there.
So,
It's hard to do this from across the room. She almost there. Not yet. Yes, there it is.
so you see it references the water course map. Water courses can be identified on the map, or they can be identified through a site reconnaissance visit. And then if the planning board determines that it has a discernible channel, a bed, and banks and flows in a particular direction, and has a drainage area of more than 20 acres, then they can determine it to be a water course. So while water course definition is interesting, it doesn't apply to this project, because the code provision 220-9A1 never references water courses. Water courses are separate and distinct, and defined separately and distinctly from streams. 220-9 only references streams, and it gives its own definition for a stream, which is that it has to carry water for 6 months of the year. So I apologize, but the lawyer in me says that the code needs to be applied as the code is written. You can't take the definition of water course, which isn't referenced in the setback rule, and apply it to the setback. You have to look at it in terms of streams. And our argument is that this is not a stream. This is a swale that intermittently carries water when there's heavy rain events. I've submitted evidence of photographs taken in September, which has been our wettest month of the year, showing it to be bone dry. I have photographs taken today, and as you all know, we received roughly 3 inches of rain over the course of the weekend, showing that it is, as it generally is, bone dry.
I walked across it today.
Yeah, I went out, stood out in the middle of it too. And I have just, to the extent that anyone really cares, it's not super useful, but the weather data for this month. Yeah. From the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration showing that we've had about 3 inches this past 4 or 5 days. So, like I said, I believe in administration of the code as written. I don't think that the 100-foot setback even applies. But regardless, even if you determine that it does, in my mind, this is a pretty simple variance request. It's only going 1.2 feet closer than the neighboring parcel is 3 times as close. It's at 12 feet, when we're in excess of 54 feet, nearly 4 times as close. And the board just recently approved much shorter variances, for example, on the entry point of 35 feet to what is actually a stream and does carry water at least half of the year. So that's where we're at on this presentation. I don't know if the board has any questions.
Did we grant any variances for the one that's closer, you know? Or was
That-
that a pre-existing?
That's a pre-existing.
Okay.
In my letter, just to the extent that you're concerned about it, I do address the relevant factors for consideration. The one that I think is most relevant here is whether there's another feasible alternative. We talked about in the original site proposal and discussion, if you shift the building at all any more to the north to enhance the setback to this swale, it's going to decrease the setback to the lake. And we want to preserve that. That's of utmost priority as opposed to this swale. These are the 2 parcels that are going to be combined.
Any questions from the board? No. I'm just thinking whether, if we get into this semantics of it, whether it's a water course or a stream, whether you grant a variance with a stream, we have to answer the question tonight of water course.
I don't think it meets the definition of a water course at all. So I don't think that's an issue.
The water course isn't in the section that
So-
deals with the setback. It doesn't address water courses.
So I think the issue is,
Has Chris Jensen looked at this? Has it decided, is there some ruling from some town
Yeah,
official that
he
said?
and I went out there and determined it was carried water.
So,
When was it that you went?
That was after the variance, the first few variances were granted. After the planning board meeting, where we determined that a variance was needed
So what month of the year? I'm trying to,
on August. August or September. It's in the file, I can pull it up.
Where's the origination of the stream?
Well, it is. How far do you want me to follow it?
No, that's enough. So, if it was
It's not
across,
Canandaigua.
if it was across the yard, it would be.
yeah, right?
DEC designated Blue Mountain Stream on our water course map
They what?
of the town. It's a DEC designated Blue
Okay.
Mountain Stream on
Got it.
our water course map of the town.
Well, blue line streams are not in the code section, water courses are not in the code section, and the water course map is not referenced in the code section. You have to make a determination as a code enforcement officer based off of a single visit that this is carrying water 6 months of the year.
Should chime in with Chris Manley and see what.
Yeah, Chris is on.
so, hello. I
Any
think
thoughts?
the issue, I think Terrence framed the issue rather well. And that is, from an interpretation standpoint, your zoning officer has determined that this is a stream that carries water 6 months out of the year. And your issue is whether or not that's correct.
How often does it actually accumulate water?
I think Lorraine would be,
Right.
She
I've
lives
lived
right
there.
next to it.
I've lived there for 40 years and it has never flooded. I would say when you have a deluge, for example, when Shauna, you guys came out, that was a time, it was in September, I
It was
believe.
September, I
And
can't
it was
remember if
like
it was
a
August or.
3-day constant rain. And I just said, no, it ran, but it never, maybe it ran in June once, I mean, like, literally, it runs maybe 2 or 3 times a year for a day. So it's
No,
never
you
carries
didn't.
water.
Can I just put you on speaker? Okay, alright. Chris?
Yes.
Alright,
Can you
you're
hear
on
me?
speaker, you're at the table on my phone.
There
Yep,
you
we
go.
can hear you.
What I was trying to say is that I think Terrence framed the issue correctly. Is that what you need to decide is whether or not this is a stream that carries water 6 months a year. And as I just signed off Zoom to call Shauna, it sounded like there was a neighbor there with 40 years experience.
The owner.
Or the
If
applicant.
Mr. Robinson wanted to offer sworn testimony, that may be useful in your determination, because what you've got is a zoning and code enforcement officer who have one month of data, and Terrence who has, some data. Last at the planning board, we had the property owner who said, he's pretty sure it doesn't carry water 6 months a year, but if we've got a neighbor of 40 years who can testify to this board that she's familiar with the stream and it doesn't carry water 6 months a year, I think that would be relevant to your determination.
You're the applicant, though,
Yes,
correct?
right.
Okay,
The
so,
neighbor, the neighbor is the applicant, it's one of the.
yeah, the one that, yeah, so she's the
I
applicant.
wasn't here at the last
Oh,
meeting.
that is the applicant, okay.
They asked me to testify the last time, and I haven't lived there.
Oh, okay.
If it helps, this is Aaron Mills. I am another neighbor.
I didn't even know it was there. You walk through the property today. If you're on our property, unless you walk through the woods and look, you would never know that's there. In the house next door, on the south side of us, that house is 12 feet away from that swale, or whatever you wanna call it. I looked Sunday morning after it rained all day Friday, all day Saturday. It's dry. You look today, it's dry. You look today, it's dry. It doesn't carry water 6 months out of the year. Irrelevant to that is, if you decide it's a stream, then we would like to get a variance to still build. I mean, I can't look at it and say, wait a minute, you can do something at Menteith Point where that's a stream. I mean, when that gets going, it's really a stream. And say this little swale next to us is going to prevent us from doing what we need to do.
It's, on the map, when we go up earlier, what is it called? I mean, we're seeing the
Blue
end
line
of
stream.
this long blue line. Is it called a stream? Back a ways, going left on this map?
We call it a blue line stream.
Blue line
All the
stream.
way, somewhere it originates.
So it originates,
Like quite a ways away.
if you want me to-
There's several of them, actually, you
Yes.
can see in that area.
Yeah,
Well-
the phrase blue line stream is not a defined term, it simply comes from the fact that there's a map maintained by the town that shows a variety of waterways, some are infinite streams, some are regular streams,
Right.
and they're drawn with a blue line. If it's drawn with a blue line, it's a blue line stream. My point is that our code, our town board has defined what stream means for this exact specific section, and it doesn't apply.
Right.
But in the end, it's somewhat academic. I just like
Right.
the code enforced the
I
way it's
get it.
written. But we're asking for 1.2 feet when we're gonna get 54 and the neighbors at 12.
I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah, I know you weren't here for the Menteith one. One of the things we did was we put stipulation in there that they had to know that it's gonna flood. That could be something
Such a different situation.
completely, yeah. completely, but
I mean, but you know, part of, right, let's say it's a stream. Let's say we decide to grant a variance. Part of our conditions or part of our reasons can be that this is marginally a stream.
that's, sign on it.
One could argue it's actually not a stream, but you know, that could be part of our.
Right, oh, I see what
Well,
you're saying.
the difference is this is a variance as far as the code in a stream. And this is a substantial variance in regard to the 100-foot setback from the stream. It isn't, and that's the only issue that I have, and you know, looking at that,
So we're kind of tasked with determining whether it's a stream or not, right? I mean,
Well,
kind of.
are we?
Or,
I mean, this is procedural more than it is a question for you, so, but what's in front of us is applicant is requesting a stream setback variance.
right,
There's
That's not
no,
what I'm requesting. My application was a zoning law determination and then the
Okay.
alternative for a variance.
But how can you file a zoning law determination when or an interpretation when I hadn't done the zoning law determination?
Because
So,
you had-
excuse me, this is Chris Nadler. Can you hear me?
I think this one hundred
yeah, I think
Chris,
he
is
was,
that you?
yeah, here we go, he's calling again,
Yeah,
hold on.
you-
Want me to answer it?
Yeah.
8,
Hi, it's Chris Nadler. Can you
yeah,
hear me?
we can hear you. Ooh, that's lovely.
Okay, sorry, hang on.
I know from your PC.
So, interpretation, application or not, New York State town law authorizes the zoning board upon any variance request to grant the variance or do what, in its opinion, should have been done. So it essentially authorizes the board at any time to make an interpretation on its own, of its own accord.
Right.
There's somebody who wants to comment when you're ready.
Okay,
Any other questions from the board or applicants? Any comments from the audience here? Or any questions or comments from those calling in? Aaron Mills?
Hi, this is Aaron Mills. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Are you able to hear me?
Do you want him to give him a phone number? No?
Can you hear me?
you have a message us, I guess.
Yeah, he can take his comment. Is he,
Yeah.
okay.
Which
He
side?
can't.
He said, can you hear me?
He's the second.
No, we can't. Oh, there you go. Or-
We'll have him sign it.
Well, let me ask a question then while we're getting queued up. So when there is water, is it water that's running and it's moving towards the lake, or is it just looks like puddles? I'm trying to envision.
I can think of probably in the last 5 years, I can think of probably 3 occasions where it actually ran out into the lake. And, you know, the came out. But for the most part, unless it's when there's a huge rainstorm, like the other night, like 3, I mean, I didn't go out and look, quite frankly, but we apparently had 3 inches. I saw nothing come out. I mean, but it's not the summertime, you're not standing out in the wind. But as my husband said, he went and walked it.
You were there today. I mean, it's not a stream. And
like we have a, what's that thing next to us on our property now? It's called a culvert. The culvert puts out much more water than this thing does on, 2 properties away.
Maybe you should send them your number just in case, or the number.
Well, you got Nadler on my phone.
No, you hung up.
Oh, you don't know?
Yep.
I'm just,
I'm on Zoom. Can you hear me?
It's not run
Okay.
6 months a year, we have done there since the
There you go.
1990s.
There's your testimony.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let me ask, my phone didn't answer.
Oh, here he is.
Please. I'm just gonna, for the record, I'm gonna ask for his, I know.
Okay, you're on speaker.
Hi, I heard on the Zoom, did you have a question for me?
No, and I don't know, maybe. One of the neighbors actually did text in and say that it does not run 6 months of the year, so that's kind of the testimony.
Did they give you their name and address?
Yep,
Yep.
yep. You want to talk to Shauna more
Was that
directly?
here in Mills?
That's
Yes.
Aaron Mel, yeah, he's a neighbor.
Is someone known to this board?
Okay,
And someone about, he's obviously not in the room, but you can make a credibility determination.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
met with him
Board's
about his
wish.
property.
all right. Get my own headset, and start putting people through.
Anyone else zooming in have any questions?
Our stream has never overrun its bank since we've been there.
All right, perfect.
Nobody
All
has
right.
questions?
Thank you, Aaron.
Here's the thing.
Okay, any other questions? Are you comfortable closing the
I'm
public hearing?
comfortable. I've spent most of the time addressing the determination issue because that's what I think is the more pressing issue here. But if anyone has any questions about the alternative relief, the variance application, I'm certainly happy to address that as well.
You're all set. All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you, board.
We'll close the public hearing then. We have 62 days to come to a decision. We will typically make it on this evening, particularly since we're through all the hearings. We'll take them.
If I could make a recommendation,
Yep,
why don't you just leave the public hearing open, because the public hearing is on the area variance request, not the interpretation request. The board grants the interpretation request, then the area variance request goes away and the public hearing would close on its own. If the board doesn't grant the interpretation request, then the public hearing is still open and the applicant could say, come back.
okay.
So we deliberate on that one first, is that how it goes?
That's my suggestion.
Okay.
Okay, we will leave it open at this point, but let's go ahead and I think go to the horse barn. So,
Well, we have to, right?
that's all.
Okay.
Okay, McIntyre Road.
I still don't understand why it requires a variance. It's in an ag district. It's a portable structure. It's being used for agricultural use. If it needs a variance, I don't see the problem.
I'm good with it. We wanted to make sure we got the numbers right,
Right.
rather
Yeah,
than
that's
give
all
him
we
a
really
too
need.
small a
More
variance,
of a
yeah.
logistics issue.
I think it was correct to get the numbers right,
Yeah.
but I don't have a problem with the presentation or application.
Yeah. Again, it was just to get the numbers right, but I also agree. I'm sure it makes sense. Okay, ready to call the question?
Applicant is requesting to move a 10-foot by 30-foot horse stall from an adjacent neighbor's property to a horse pasture on the applicant's property. The setbacks for the stall do not meet the zoning schedule requirements in the AR2 district. 10-foot side setback when 100 feet is required, 90-foot setback variance needed, and a 60-foot side setback when 100 feet is required. 40 foot setback variance needed. Shall the app, do you wanna do these together, or do you want?
I think we can do it together, yeah.
Okay. Shall the applicant be granted a 90-foot side setback variance in a 40-foot side setback variance? Bob Hilliard,
Yes.
Dave Emery,
Yes.
Kelly LaVoy,
Yes.
Chip Saylor,
Yes.
Shannon Chevier.
Yes.
Yes. All right, the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the neighborhood. As, and will be based on facts as presented during the public hearing tonight. Yeah, I think granting the variance is in character with the neighborhood. It might have an adverse effect on the property or the neighborhood. It's somewhat unique in that it's a very narrow lot. And that restricts side-to-side placement. And I think the other thing would be, this is a movable building, which it's a movable building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, anyone? And then the usual conditions as presented on the information tonight, and then application, application move the building. It would have to be done within a year.
Okay.
You might want to add it certainly in the character of the neighborhood, since it's already in the neighborhood.
That's a good
Just
point.
moving it around the corner, yeah.
Rearranging the neighborhood.
That's good, Dave.
Okay. You're all set then.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, well, the former chairman has thrown us a curveball here.
Of course.
And I guess, to me, it would make sense that we debate the issue of the, whether or not this is a stream or a water course.
I'm not even sure there's a debate about it. I mean, we've got, the neighbors have said,
Right, well, that's what, but I
that,
think we need to decide that, each of us decide that, or majority decide it, and then if we decide that it's not a stream, that it's a water course, then there's really no need to make a variance.
I'm not sure that it's either one.
Right.
There may be something that we don't have a name for what this really is, because the water course, it said something about drainage and acreage and all that.
right,
And I don't know, I don't see this fitting. I guess what I'm saying is, it's not an either or.
Right.
And it doesn't
I
seem
mean,
like.
is it a stream, I guess that's.
well,
what
the
we have to-
DEC defines it as a blue line stream, but in the town is what he's referring to, and do we have it defined as a stream? None of these, in my opinion.
Everything above it is headed uphill. It's gonna drain someplace, and, I mean, for a stream to run for more than 6 months, it has to have a large watershed. Even the Mississippi's not doing too well right now. And so to me, it's not, I mean, the water's gonna come off that hillside. If it rains hard, if not, it's gonna percolate into the ground. But, I mean, look at, see, this is
Yeah, that-
heavy
they're-
clay, so.
I've run out
Today
from
it
my
was
yard that
really
looks like
dry,
that.
I can tell you, no mud, it was dry.
Right.
So I don't.
So in my mind, it's not a stream, whether it's a water course or not. But I don't think we have to go there.
Right, I agree.
It's not a stream.
Well, they defined it as a stream, like, they were saying, right? Wasn't that the determination? Okay. So that's all we have to agree on, not about the
And I
water course.
absolutely, I mean, I do agree that there's.
Yeah. So we're only voting on the stream, it doesn't even have to apply about the water course, because there's nothing there.
Right.
So,
Would someone like to make a motion?
I vote
Second.
The motion is,
that it is not a stream.
okay,
It is not a stream that carries water 6 months a year, was your motion.
Caveat it.
Sure.
And to the wording that is in the code the first time, this is not a stream that carries water for 6 months of the
Right.
year.
Yeah,
That'll be in our
yeah,
reasons.
as defined by the code, right, and the.
Yeah, I don't think we should just globally say this isn't a stream. I think we
Right.
should say this isn't a stream that
Right.
would apply.
The question, we're really just determining that it doesn't meet the designation of the code. It's
Right.
not a
And we
stream.
can put in our reasoning behind
Right.
it afterwards, so.
If it doesn't meet any of what the code says is a stream, we are determining it's not or is a stream.
We're gonna call the question on, is this a stream or not?
Oh, okay.
Well,
To
we
be or
don't
not
have-
to be?
We don't, yeah, that's not
we don't
before
have
us.
that on the decision sheet, so we'll have to-
Oh, here comes Chris again, hold on. You're on. Go ahead.
This is fun.
Yes.
You hear me on Zoom, but I can't hear anything on the phone.
Okay,
Just to be clear, it's, your motion is that this is not a stream that carries water 6 months a year in this location,
okay,
on this site, right?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
thank you. Was that it?
That's it.
All right,
Okay. We'll just- you just vote on that.
I'm just
Did
gonna,
Kim capture the motion?
Yeah. but
The full
it's
motion.
comfortable.
so I'm gonna say what Chris
Chris
just
said,
said.
yeah,
And the motion, or your determination is that this is not a stream that carries water for 6 months of the year on this site.
on the site at this location, right, isn't that what it's?
At this location.
Correct.
All right,
All right,
Not pertaining upon-
are we,
We can probably do this by show of hands.
I can call the names,
Oh, go ahead.
okay. Bob Hilliard,
Yes.
Dave Emery,
A yes means, I
That
think it's
we have
not a
both.
stream.
Yes.
Correct.
okay, the yes means that we vote that it's not a stream.
Yes.
Kelly LaVoy,
Yes.
Chip Saylor,
Yes.
and Shannon Chivney.
Can I abstain?
Sure.
Okay,
You can certainly abstain.
thank you.
Okay, so that passes.
Yep, that's good.
Now, because of that passing, there would be no need for a variance, is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct,
So you will be on
That's correct.
the
all righty,
planning board agenda next Tuesday.
And we'll pass that decision to the parent planning board, so they'll be finish it up. Anything else on that one?
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks. No, nothing I have.
Always good to see everyone.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Enjoy your
I'm
board
gonna
business.
step off, and if anything else is wrong, I'll give you a call.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Thank you all.
right,
Thank you
safe
very much,
rest.
Chris.
Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
You too.
All right.
Welcome to stay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Getting out of here.
I know, sprinted.
All right, so no more hearings, requests for rehearings.
Not yet.
Yeah.
We have
Well.
one
I want to take that.
referral from the town board.
You know, I was thinking, or maybe,
Blow it up.
No refer-
Maybe
referrals.
It's almost a stream.
maybe in a bathroom,
Yeah.
that's okay. Close enough.
It's almost a stream.
Now, other business as required. John will be leaving the committee.
John will be leaving the committee.
When is he leaving?
His last meeting will be next,
Next one, right?
yeah,
Okay.
will be next month, and then Shannon has agreed to take out. the-
Yeah, I had the question here that, do I need to do anything, do I need to apply or something?
You don't need to do anything, and if we have an organizational meeting at the beginning of the year where we appoint and reappoint new members. So that'll be taken care of then.
Good, thank you.
And I talked to Doug about it today, so as well.
Now, we will need to be looking for an
An
alternate.
alternate. Just,
Anybody?
I know.
Anybody has any acquaintances they think would be interested in doing that? We've often drawn from people who have presented.
that's how you ended up
That's
here,
why,
right?
yeah, 20-some years ago.
And Shannon.
Yeah.
And Shannon, John.
John, yeah.
I was here, I don't know, they threw me into the work, so I just, to annoy everybody apparently.
How long have you been on the board?
Right, because didn't everybody leave after I came in? Remember that whole controversy? I don't know, 7, 8 years, something like that. So,
Well, yeah. You were something in your prime, just.
There goes your aches and pains.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
I think,
What are you talking about? You weren't even here.
yeah, so I think if,
Just
you
kidding,
know,
you've been out.
people have friends,
It's been
Six.
neighbors, they think might be interested. I'll
Maybe you've
think
been
on
on
it.
longer.
We'll need to do that, or-
I think
So
for
8
people,
years, yeah.
you know, it's funny, but for me, coming in with, new to the area, having, no intent, I've never had to recuse myself. If you think about it, that's
Oh,
not,
yeah, there you
that's
go.
not a bad thing, when you come in and you
Yeah.
don't have all those priors, and it's
Conflicts.
learning experience, you
Yeah.
know, what you're going, that's not all bad.
I
It's
haven't-
unusual though, because I mean, even with my having been in practice here, it was not that many times I had. So-
Yeah,
it definitely doesn't help you make friends. I
no,
always say
no,
that.
no.
Like, I don't know, I use it's quasi judicial. All I do is just.
Now, do we
So-
put out some announcement?
To get a dirty
or-
look at
Yeah,
maintenance,
we've
it could
already
be because of
sort of-
this or for other reasons.
Yeah. I've had
Planning
people.
board also
Oh, yeah.
needs. We're constantly.
It's fun.
And I
Can
guess I
somebody
need,
be on the planning board and the zoning board at the same time?
No,
I didn't think so.
it's a conflict.
I thought so. I
That's like a
thought I'd ask.
full-time job. It's like 3 meetings a month.
3 meetings a month, oh, I know, I
Yeah.
saw.
It's like, yeah.
I've
Well,
got
we
a,
appreciate your stepping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shannon, that's great.
definitely.
I've got to get with it now with the training, because I would let that slide, you've come up with announcements and stuff, so if you want to push us, I don't know if other people are behind on their hours, but I am.
You had that whole day.
I was gonna say,
There was some just recently.
Oh, so are we covered because of the day we came
Did you
in?
go?
You came
Yeah.
for the whole day, then
Yeah.
you're fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
you're good.
okay.
And they had the one down,
Unless
Yeah.
it's your first year, apparently.
Unless it's
Yeah.
your first year, then you need 12 hours, which Shannon will be wrapping up soon. We've been keeping track, I don't think, if you had needed something, I would have already told you,
Yeah.
Okay.
so I can't remember.
Yeah, usually
Okay.
somebody sends out an email, right? If you're,
Yeah.
I know I'm covered just because
Okay.
that was a pretty decent,
Yeah,
do it all in one
It
day.
was a nice.
But if
That's
if
nice.
something's interesting, I'm still willing to go for it,
Yeah.
if it's
And-
especially convenient.
New York State is doing an online series on the clean energy stuff.
Yeah.
Are they?
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a few people doing that.
Yeah. I dialed in last night.
Wow.
It was interesting.
I'll go brave the tundra.
Okay, we have approval of the October 18th minutes.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't look.
Make a motion to approve.
Look them carefully. Yeah. Have a motion, Dave?
And we received a
Move
stream
to
variance.
approve the
Oh, look
minutes
at,
for last month.
wait. I just saw that. Did you see that? And we received a stream
Oh,
variance.
that's new.
Yeah. And we, 2 of our homes, I didn't even see that. That was from Aaron, right?
Who knows?
So they received her stream variance too. We could actually throw that in there too, if forever future reference. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go
But
ahead.
it's not a stream.
That's not stream anyway, so. that's
Uh-oh,
right.
we have to go back and.
Yeah.
Versus,
Sometime we have to go out for drinks, so we'll come up with a new name for this phenomenon.
It's
It's
a
not a
water
water horse and it's not a
transfer.
stream.
this was a blue flag.
Well, we just have to define blue.
Yeah.
Okay, minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
we'll call it the Bitcoin
Next
transfer
month,
water.
it seems like we've got the holdover on Fallbrook.
Blasted finance people.
I don't know if you're gonna see it, but
No,
that's
he
one,
was not.
there is one we have for They're asking for 5 variances, and we'll try to get them down a little bit.
Which one?
There, it's a new one.
Where-
It's on the west side,
Of course it is.
Vista, is it Vista Drive? What is that? So, it's not.
Is that by me?
Vista.
That's by me.
This is up by you, isn't it?
I think so.
No, it's not, I can't think of it, it's not on the east side, it's on the west side.
I'm on the west side.
5 variances.
Whereabouts is it how far?
Actually, you know what? I don't know, we don't even have it online yet.
Ah,
So
Okay,
you'll-
well,
Sure, I'll see it
Yeah,
okay,
it's-
so probably just two.
if I ever leave my house again.
Not-
I hate
I
it
said
when it's
5
too
was,
cold.
yeah, 5 variances was excessive
Yeah.
to the.
Wrap everything
Oh.
up.
Yeah, you're not gonna have a huge number.
Now, coordination with your office and what we do, it's semi-embarrassing when somebody comes in and they don't have something that we can use as a map or if the numbers are wrong.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you take a look at what they have, right, in your office, what they're going to
That's-
submit and all that.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's still kind of wasting
Stuff happens.
everybody's time a little bit. And I guess for rookies, people who have never, gone through this experience, maybe they think, just writing something, when they're on horseback or something like that in a map or whatever, is gonna be sufficient, but I
This
think,
isn't Farmington.
yeah, but we have to have our standards too. I think we have to be careful that we don't accept, material that's not up to snuff too.
I think the place where that's often the case is where it would be very helpful to have go through and look for old variances.
Yeah.
Before they come.
Yeah, that
that's a good
actually
idea.
is the
That's one
best.
thing we often put them off for.
Right, and I think that is okay to put them off for, and the onus is really on them to prove their case, it's not on staff to go researching all of the prior.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not suggesting.
Yeah, no, I
separate,
know, but, and
Yeah.
also, with the plans, it's kind of like the Harrington one, we look at we talk with the applicant, we can't make, it's not fair to ask them to come in with a 90-year set of plans.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know,
Like
yeah.
that. But I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of a fine line between what we
Yeah.
request, and
But
sometimes
there's-
we do it for them.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot for a shed or a generator or something that's silly that needs a variance.
I'm gonna come in with a set of
They
plans.
also
one of
need to
these days.
understand that their answers to the
Couple of
five
stick figures in the yard,
ought to be
Yeah,
more than
Tyra.
no, is a minimal request and.
Right, and I really
That was
pushed
that
them on
wonderful.
that, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
but just all 5 answers were exactly the same.
Yep.
Like, those are really important, I mean, they're
Yeah.
asking for relief from the law.
Yeah.
So if you want that, then you need to let us know why.
Yeah.
And how.
Yeah.
So. I mean, this board does some important work,
Mhm.
really.
I hope so.
Well, just because it's important doesn't mean it's right.
We downgraded a stream to a something.
Yeah.
That was yeah.
For now and ever shall be.
I know.
Okay,
Tonight we made history then.
motion to get out.
Shut down the
before an
stream.
hour.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We defrocked the stream,
All
I
good.
did.
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
see, but.
I second it.
I forgot to wear a coat, it's just,